When I first told my Filipino friends I was going to Siquijor, everyone looked at me like I just said I wanted to spend a weekend with Dracula. "Don't go there alone," one of them warned me, eyes wide. "There are witches. They'll turn you into a goat." Another one just crossed himself dramatically. "That island has a swang." Now, as an American woman raised on Netflix horror and Starbucks loyalty points, I wasn't really sure what an aswang was, but it didn't sound like something that gives good Yelp reviews. Still, my curiosity won. I mean, a mystical island with white beaches and witch stories? That sounded like my kind of weird. So I packed sunscreen, mosquito spray, and enough optimism to fight off a small curse. The ferry to Siquijor was chaos wrapped in sea breeze. There were families with huge boxes labeled fragile that looked like they contained refrigerators, tourists in beach hats bigger than my suitcase, and vendors selling banana Q on sticks. When we finally arrived, I stepped off the ferry expecting thunder, lightning, and an old woman hissing at me from the shore. Instead, I got sunshine, turquoise water, and a guy selling fresh coconuts yelling, "Welcome to Siquijor, man blonde." That is when I realized something. Filipinos don't care where you re from. If you smile and laugh, they'll treat you like family. My tricycle driver Manglito became my accidental tour guide. He was about 60, wearing a hat that said New York Yankees, even though he had no idea what baseball was. He looked at me in the mirror and asked, "You alone?" "Yeah," I said. He laughed so hard he almost missed a turn. "Brave, but don't worry, the witches here are friendly." We drove past endless green fields, kids waving from the roadside, and old churches built from coral stones. Siquijor didn't look scary, it looked peaceful. But there was something else too, a calm, almost mystical feeling, like the island was holding its breath. I checked into a small beach hut owned by a woman named Tita Nena, who immediately fed me pancit and asked if I had a boyfriend. When I said no, she looked at me like I just told her I lost my passport and my soul. "Ah, poor you. Maybe you meet local man here. Many handsome fishermen." I laughed. "Maybe I'll meet a wizard instead." She nodded seriously. "We have those too." That night, there was no internet. The stars looked like someone had spilled glitter across the sky. I sat outside my hut, sipping coconut juice straight from the shell, listening to the waves crash softly. It felt unreal. Back home, I was used to the noise of highways and endless phone notifications. Here I could actually hear my thoughts, and they weren't all that scary. Then came the sound of drums. At first, I thought it was a speaker from a nearby house, but it was coming from somewhere deeper inland. Curiosity, my greatest flaw, kicked in. I followed the rhythm through a narrow trail lined with palm trees and fireflies. I stumbled into what looked like a small village fiesta. People dancing barefoot, laughing, eating lechon. Someone handed me a plate before I even asked. "Eat, Blondie, you are our guest." Within minutes, I was dancing with strangers, laughing like I'd known them all my life. No one cared I was the only foreigner. The vibe was pure joy, the kind that doesn't need translation. The next morning, I met a man everyone called Doc. He wasn't a doctor in the hospital sense, he was a healer, one of Siquijor's famous mambabarang or herbal doctors. He had a table full of mysterious bottles, roots, and oils. He smiled when I walked up. "Ah, the foreigner who dances with no shoes." I blushed. Yeah, that was me. He asked if I wanted a blessing for protection. Normally I'd say no, but in Siquijor, saying no to a healer felt like saying no to magic itself. So, I nodded. He dabbed oil on my forehead and muttered something in Bisaya. The scent was a mix of coconut, ginger, and mystery. Then he smiled. "Now no witch will bother you, but maybe handsome fisherman will." I laughed, but deep down, something about it felt comforting. Later that day, I rented a scooter and explored the island myself. Every turn looked like a postcard. Waterfalls, endless greenery, locals waving as I passed by. I stopped at Cambugahay Falls where kids were swinging from vines into the blue water like Tarzan. A teenage boy grinned and yelled, "Ma'am, try, swing, like TikTok." Before I could say no, I was holding the vine, praying to every American god I knew, and screaming my lungs out as I flew into the air. I hit the water with a splash so loud even the carabaos probably flinched. When I came up, soaked and laughing, the locals cheered like I'd just won a medal. One old man clapped, "You brave blonde! You belong here now!" That night, back at my hut, I sat with Tita Nena again. The power went out, a normal thing here, apparently. The only light came from candles and the glow of the moon. She told me stories about how her grandmother used to make potions for love and good luck. Not dark magic, she said, just prayers and nature. That's when it clicked for me. Siquijor's mystery wasn't about curses or witches. It was about people's belief in nature, healing, and kindness. What outsiders called magic, locals called faith. The next morning, before I left, Tita Nena gave me a small bottle filled with coconut oil and herbs. "For your protection," she said with a wink. "Against witches?" I joked. "Against stress," she replied. "That's the real curse." We both laughed. As the ferry pulled away, I looked back at the island. It was quiet, beautiful, and glowing in the morning sun. I realized something simple but powerful. We go to places expecting adventure, but sometimes what we find is peace. I came to Siquijor expecting ghosts and magic. What I found instead was community, kindness, and the feeling of being safe, even on an island famous for witches. And okay, maybe a little magic too. Because when I got home and opened that bottle, it smelled exactly like the island. Coconut, smoke, and a touch of mystery. I swear, just one sniff and I could still hear the laughter, the waves, and those drums in the night. Maybe the island does have a spell after all. Moral of the story: sometimes the hidden parts of the Philippines aren't hidden because they re-scary. They re-hidden because they re-peaceful, real and untouched by rush or noise. Siquijor taught me that magic isn't always about spells. Sometimes it's just people living simply, kindly, and beautifully.